Hey guys, it's Chris from Crafty Creations by CV. Today we're going to be doing the flamingo wreath that I've designed. Um, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Um, this was made using a modified Unique in the Creek board. So I'm going to show you how to modify the board, as well as the petal folds that we're going to do. And I'll keep doing them as I go through, but we're going to be using the feather petal, and we're going to be using the rolled petal and what I call the fan petal, which is like a trifold petal. So I'm going to switch to the overhead camera, and this way I can kind of go through everything with you as we go here. All right, so let me switch over. All right, so this is a picture of what we're going to be doing today, and this is the flamingo wreath. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting with the Unique in the Creek oval board. Okay. So I'm going to just move this aside for a minute. So this is the board you're going to be using. Okay. And I did put, I'll put up a supply list and my link and everything else where you can go and purchase these if you're interested. But this is the oval board. Okay. And what I did was I kind of drew some lines with a marker where you're going to be modifying it. Okay. So you're going to be actually cutting this board down. So where you see these lines here, you're going to be cutting this down. You can use, I used a pair of clippers, and I also had bought this really cool, I'll show it to you guys. It's a really cool thing from Harbor Freight, and it actually um, cuts. So it's actually really cool. I'm loving power tools. Um, so you would just do this, and it would actually cut it for you along here and actually give you nice smooth edges. But you don't have to go as crazy as that. I have a husband who loves power tools, so he likes to buy different things to try. You can also use a pair of like your wire cutters if you have a really good strong set, and you can use this to cut along as well. The edges are not as smooth when you do it this way, but I kind of cheat. If I do it this way, I take my wood burning tool, and I just kind of like smooth the edges with the wood burning tool once I'm done with that. So that's going to be your first cut, is going to be here on the oval board. Okay. So it's directly, if you always start like with where your ties are going to be up here to hang it, your number one is up here. You're just going to go directly down to the bottom holes. And then you want to keep the holes though. So don't cut through the holes, cut off to the right-hand side of it a little bit. Then what you're going to do is I drew the lines here of where you're going to cut. So how I figure that out is I take my flamingo. Okay, I got this from Hobby Lobby, and they have two different types. They have one where the neck goes this way, and the other where this part of the neck is scooping backwards. But what I did is I take this and I kind of lined it up on here of where I wanted it to be. Okay. And I have done these in the past, so I kind of knew where I had to line it up. So you kind of put your flamingo on your board like this, okay? And then what I did was I took a marker and I just traced around the neck and the body here, okay? So that kind of gives me my starting point line, all right? And then this is basically where it lined up, and then I cut that, okay? So once you modify that, this is what your board is going to look like, okay? So you're going to have it cut here, and then it's going to be cut straight down here, all right? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to load our board, okay? So I'm going to turn it around so you can see the back of it, because sometimes it's easier to see all of the zip ties that way. Let me just bring this down just a little bit here. I feel like sometimes that light gets a little too bright. There You can see that better. Okay, so you're basically, these bottom holes where you cut, okay, you're going to be putting zip ties in these, okay, and it's going to go over the edge, so in through the hole and over the edge. Then for the next row, I'm just trying to see how I can show this to you. You're going to be putting a zip tie from this last hole to the outer edge. You're going to be putting it in between these two, and then also the hole to the edge. Okay. I'm going to turn it over because it's going to be easier for you to see, where all of these need to go based on. And I have a diagram too that I can also put up there afterwards. So basically you're going to have 4 on this second row from the bottom. Okay. On this next one, you're not going to have one on the outer hole. So if this was flipped over like this, you're not going to have one here. Okay. So flipping it over, this is your outer edge that we're talking about here. So you're going to put a zip tie here. You're going to put a zip tie here. And then you're going to put a zip tie from this hole to the inner part of the board. We're going to go up to the next row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th row up. Okay. You're going to now go to the outer. So you're going to be that hole to the outer edge, these two, and you're going to have nothing in the middle. Not the middle, the inner. Okay. So if you kind of look, we're starting a pattern where the outer doesn't have one, the inner doesn't have one. Now, when we go up to the next row, the outer isn't going to have one. And then you're going to fill your next 3. Okay. Then we're going to go up to the next row. Now your outer is going to have one. You're going to have these 2 here, holes filled, these 2 holes filled, nothing for the inner. Okay. You're going to repeat that for the next row up. So these 2 are the same. Then we're going to go up to this row. This one's going to be just an outer. You're going to skip that one. And then you're going to fill these 2 holes. And again, nothing is going to be in that inner hole. Okay. When we go up to the next row, now you're going to have 4 across again. So you're going to have your outer. You're going to have these 2, and an inner. We're going to go up to where we're kind of starting this little curve part up here, right above that. So now you're not going to have one in the outer. You're going to fill those 2 holes, and this inner hole. Okay. Oh, Judy, I just saw this. Can you move your camera out a bit? You want it out, Judy? Like this? Is that better? Let me try that. Is that a little bit better? Hi, Donna. Just want to make sure everybody can see it. Is that better, guys? Oh, okay. You can see the bottom now. Okay. Sorry about that. So we did the 4 across up here. Thanks, Judy. Now we're going to go, we did these 3 here. So we're going to do no outer. We're going to do these 2, and an inner. Now what we did up here, okay, so I actually had to drill some extra holes. So if you're looking at your board and your number 1 is up here, okay, just to the left of that, all right, and I'm going to try to move these. In between this first hanger hole, okay, and this outer hole here, we're going to drill an extra hole. Okay, and I'll flip it over afterwards. So there's going to be, let me bring up the other board so you might be able to see it a little bit better. This might help. So if you're looking at your oval board, because you probably should do this first before you do your zip ties. So here is your hanger hole, and here's that hole I was talking about. So you're going to put some little dots here, just like that. Okay, this is much easier to see. And you're going to make extra holes here. Okay, so you're going to make a hole here and a hole here. Extra holes are also going to be over here. So after this part is cut off, okay, just focus on where the holes are. Okay, so that'll help you. So if you look at these two holes down here, because pretend that's not going to be there, you're actually going to add holes here and holes here. Okay. So right above these two, you're going to do 2 holes there. Now you have your regular holes, and we're going to add another set of holes in between. Okay. So you're going to be drilling 3 extra sets of holes. So here, here, and here. Okay. And then that'll bring us back to what we were talking about here. So these are those extra holes we did. You're going to be putting a zip tie in here, and then you're going to be putting a zip tie from the first hanger hole to that hole. Okay. So if you turn it over, you're going to see it like this. Keep it like that. So you're going to do zip tie here and a zip tie there. It seems complicated, but it's not. If you just kind of take your time with it and step by step, set up your board first, you're going to be good to go. Then these 2 holes are in between your hanger holes. So you're going to fill those 2 regular holes there. Okay. And then we're going to be going to where the curve is for going to be the neck for the flamingo. There's going to be zip ties here, zip ties here. Then you're going to have your the extra holes you drilled. We're not doing anything with those right now. So you're not putting zip ties in these. And then the next step down, you're going to have zip tie in the regular holes and zip ties in the regular holes. Again, you have your extra holes you drilled. We're doing nothing with that right now. And then your very last one at the tip, you're going to put them in your regular holes. So most of your zip ties, except for some, that are going to be in the outer, the inner, they're going through all your regular holes that you see on your board. Okay. So the 2 types of folds, actually 3 types of folds we're going to do today. It's going to be the feather petal. It's going to be the rolled petal, and it's going to be, I call it the fanned petal, but it's like a trifold petal. So I'm going to just do a quick demonstration on each of the folds. Then what we're going to do is we're going to load up the board, and then we're going to add our flamingo on the end. Because if you try to add your flamingo first, it just gets very difficult to be able to, put your petals and stuff on. So I'm just going to move this aside for the moment. Okay. And basically the supplies we're going to use, okay, like I said, these flamingos come from Hobby Lobby. There's a long stake that comes with it where you cut that off, okay, because you don't need it that long. We are going to be using 2 different types of poly burlap, okay, and all of the mesh is from Unique in the Creek. Okay, so that's if you want to get your supplies, you can get them from there. So this is like a darker pink, okay? It's poly burlap. And I want to say, I think I might have, I did. So I wrote these numbers down for you in case, let's see, I don't know if I did the poly burlap. So the poly burlap, it's like a dark rose pink, it's called, okay? And then we're going to be using a light pink. So these are the 2 poly burlaps we're going to be using. Okay. We're going to be using a silver foil. Okay. It's silver foil mesh. And that again is from Unique in the Creek. So we're going to use this is a fabric mesh, and it's hot pink. Okay, I know it's hard on the gray to see it, but it's a hot pink. And I'll put at the very end, like I said, I can put the supply list for you guys, so you can, you know the right nuns, but you can use whatever colors you want, you know, make it your own. And then this is the other fabric mesh, which is just a pink. Okay. So the first petal we're going to be doing, which is going to be the bottom part of the tail of the flamingo, is the rolled petal. So what I normally do when I do my rolls, I use one of the tubes from the mesh things, and they have the different sizes. So whichever size you want to use, I tend to just use the smallest because I like a tighter roll. So you're basically going to be cutting your fabric mesh into squares. Okay. So if they're going to be 10 by 10 squares, if your fabric mesh comes in 10.5 by 10 yards, then you're going to cut it 10.5. So you just want a perfect square. So always check your measurement of your roll of mesh. It'll say it right on it, 10 by 10 or 10.5 by 10. Okay. So you're going to do curl side up. You're going to have your clean factory edges that they cut up in your left-hand corner here, okay? You're going to take your roll and you're going to put it right on the corner here. All right, and you just kind of put your finger on there and you're just basically rolling it up just like that, okay? When you get here, you're just going to kind of put your finger on that other pointed corner. And you're going to hold it tight, but not too tight. You want to be able to wiggle out the tube, okay? So you're going to wiggle out the tube, and then you're going to give each side a little stretch, okay? And it just kind of elongates it. And then what I do is I just put it down on your mat, push the center down, and scrunch it, okay? So it's going to look like that. And then you're just going to kind of roll it so that your two edges are together. And then what I do is I just make sure that your points are kind of even so they're not wonky where one is longer than the other. And then I just take an elastic and I put my elastic around. Oh, it broke. Oh, get rid of that one. So we'll take another elastic and you're just going to kind of put it around your little nub here. Okay. And then that's what it's going to look like. That's your rolled petal. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that with both of our fabric. And also, I forgot to tell you, sorry, it's a hot, like fuchsia pink, and that's another foil mesh that we're going to be using. I already did the rolls on it, so I forgot to put the mesh out, but we'll also be using that. So this is that rolled petal again. So you're going to be rolling your hot pink, your silver, your foil pink, and your fabric pink, okay? So you're going to, again, edge is going to be here. Take your tube and you're just going to kind of curl the little edge up there where the point is and hold it, and you're just going to roll it. And by using the tube, it just helps you so that your rolls look even, okay? Because I tried to do it without it, and I had some that were like this big, some that were like this big, so it looked weird. So this gives you uniform rolls. All right, so we pulled the little edges out. You're going to put it down, scrunch, and then you just basically roll it. And when I roll it, I just kind of do it so that they're both facing upwards. They're kind of like looking the same. All right, and you can always adjust it by moving the nub around. And then we're going to put our elastic on the end here, okay? And that's our rolled petal. So those are going to be our rolled petals. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 6 hot pink foil rolls, okay? So you're going to need 6 of these. This is that hot pink foil. Okay, we're going to need, I just want to make sure I give you guys the right thing here. Nope, sorry, I told you that wrong. Sorry. You're going to need 5 of these. Okay, so 5 of this hot pink foil. We're going to need 4 of the silver. My gosh, I'm like a mess today, guys. Sorry. You're going to need 4 silver rolled. You're going to need 5 hot pink. And then you're going to need 4 light pink. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, let's just forget that. Let's just start that over because I totally messed it up. Obviously, I can't read or count today. All right, we're going to do this again. Scratch what I just said. You're going to use 5 hot pink rolls. Okay, 5 of the hot pink, 5 of the foil, and that's like a hot pink foil. You're going to use 5 of the light pink fabric mesh, okay? And then you're going to use 4 of the silver foil. All right, so it's 5, 5, 5, and 4. Guess I can't read out of order. All right, so those are our rolled petals. That's all you need for this, okay? The next one is going to be our fanned petal, okay? And these I already did, but I'm just going to use, let's see, I'm going to just use a white piece of fabric, so I'm hoping you can maybe see that better. So with all of these, when you cut them, you do not have to use a wood burner, except for the rolled ones if you want to, okay? But the rest of them you don't need to. So I am just going to cut this. So this is, I just want to see, this is a 10.5. So I'm just cutting this just as demonstration, but you're using, you're going to be using the pinks for this. So for the fanned, the trifold, you're going to be using the hot pink foil mesh and the light pink fabric mesh and the hot pink fabric mesh. Okay. So these are going to be our fanned petals. And I know it might seem confusing, but there's really only, there's like 5 colors you're using. It's just getting everything set up as to what, how many of each you need. So for this fanned petal, what we're going to be doing is you're going to do curl side up, factory edges up on this left-hand side. You're going to take this top point and you're going to fold it down to the bottom point and just kind of flatten it out. And I just always use clips when I make my stuff. It's just easier for me. So I just clip that point on the bottom, and I'm going to clip this point on the right, and I'm going to clip this point on the left. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side here and fold it over to my left. So it's kind of like we're starting that Star Trek type petal. Okay. And then I just kind of clip and keep all my edges together. And again, down here, I just put a clip. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like to start with. So kind of starting that Star Trek. Then what I'm going to do is just flip it over, and I'm going to make another like little fold there. So right is going to the left, and I'm going to clip that edge there. And I'm going to just clip up top. So this is what it's going to look like at this point. Okay. And then I'm going to just take this here and I'm going to fold this top over. So right to left, just a little bit to create that little nub on the top. Okay. So it just creates that little nub. And we're going to put an elastic around that. Okay. What I do is I leave this clip on until I'm ready to, take it off when I put it on the board, because otherwise it starts to catch on things. But basically, when you put it on the board, it's going to fan out like this. Okay, so you'll actually have 3 pieces that come out, and it just, you call it trifold. I just call it the fanned petal because that's what it reminds me of. Okay, so when we do these, you're going to have 2 of the hot pink foils. You're going to have 2. See, no, I think we're going to have 2 of the light pink, and you're going to have 1 of the hot pink. Okay, so we're going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to be making 5 of those. Okay, so that is our fanned petal. All right, and if you want, I can do it one more time for you, just so that those who have never made that petal before can follow it. So I'm just cutting my square here. And again, for the fanned petal, I mean, I tend to wood burn all of my mesh. It's just easier for me to cut it, and it just gives you nice cleaner edges. So we're going to do curl side up. Okay, we're going to take our point down to our other point and just kind of flatten it out. And if you can get the edges lined up really good and nice and neat, your fan will look better. Okay, so that's why I kind of use the clips, because it kind of keeps everything in place for you. Okay, so that's what we're starting with. You're going to take your right side and fold it to the other corner here. And then what I do is I just take that clip and I clip that, flatten it, and I take that clip and move it up to the top. And then I take this one off and clip it like that. Okay. Then we're going to flip it over. Again, you're going to take this right corner down here and bring it to your left corner there. And again, just take your clip off and just line up your edges so all your edges are lined up like that. And then we're going to create our little nub. So you're just going to take this and just fold it over. It's only about an inch, okay? And it just creates a nub so that when you're putting it in there, it holds it a little bit better in the zip tie. Because if it's too thin, sometimes I find that they kind of pull out a little bit. So by creating that nub, it just gives it a little bit more to hold on to. Okay, and again, that's what it's going to look like when you're done. Okay, so I'm just going to put the white aside so I don't confuse anybody with that. So that is your fan petal. So far we did the rolled petal and we did the fanned petal. So now what we're going to do is the feather petal. Okay, this is where we're going to use our poly burlap. All right. So what I like to do with this, because on the flamingos up in that feather area, there's the combination of the silver and the pinks. So I like to take my 10 by 10 poly burlap, and I like to also cut a piece of the foil mesh, okay, the silver foil, and I place that over top of it, okay. And then what I do is I take my clips again, and I clip the foil mesh to the poly burlap mesh, okay, in all four corners, just to kind of keep it even here, okay. And again, you're going to have your finished edges up on that left-hand side. You're going to take your top corner, bring it down to your other corner. Now with this one, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to overlap a little bit. That's okay. But what you're going to do is just kind of make your corners here as pointy as you can and clip them. And then I just take these clips and I clip both pieces of mesh together, the poly burlap. So basically this is what you have, okay? So for the feather petal, you're going to put your thumb on the point at the bottom, and you're going to put your whichever finger you want up top here, and you're going to stretch that out just like that, okay? So while that's stretched, you're going to take this right-hand corner and you're going to bring it just down to the bottom where it meets that other point, okay? So that's what it's going to look like. And then I just kind of flatten it with my hands, and I take this clip and I clip it right where that kind of corner is. So switch hands, and then I take this clip off because you won't need that. You're going to take your left, and now you're going to fold this over. So when you fold it, you're going to be lining this up to the edge that you already have over here. Okay, so then all you have to do is take the clip off again and clip it. So this is what it'll look like. And you could take this clip off at this point. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So your edges are going to line up here, and it's kind of like a wonky triangle, but you don't have to worry about any of this stuff down here because we're going to be cutting that off. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers here and you're going to squeeze in the middle. Okay. The harder part with this is because it's so thick, sometimes it can be really hard. So you got to kind of give it a squeeze. And that's why I leave this clip on until I'm ready to move it, because it's really hard to kind of bring it in. So you're going to take where your edge is and you're going to slide that in to your middle. And then you're going to take this side and slide it into your middle. And then kind of use your index finger to hold the center part down, because that center is going to want to pop up on you. So you got to really kind of hold this. Because it's a lot thicker than just using just the poly burlap. I use a zip tie when I do this instead of an elastic because I found that I was breaking way too many elastics trying to hold this tight. So I just kind of put a zip tie around it and then just pull your zip tie like that. Okay. And that is what your feather petal is going to look like. And we're going to be cutting this bottom part off here. All right. So I'm going to do this. And you're just going to leave just a little bit on the edge. And you're just going to cut that off because we don't need it. All right. And that's what your feather petal is going to look like. Just like that. So it's got like a little opening here. It's really cute. So we're going to do that again with our light pink. And then I'll give you the counts of how many we're actually going to be using. Okay. So we're going to do that again. So we're going to take our light pink 10 by 10. We're going to put our silver foil mesh over it, and we're going to clip all the corners just like that. And like I said, the prep work for this is probably what takes the longest because once we start putting the petals on, it's going to be done like that. So you have your factory edge here. You're going to take your top point, bring it down to the bottom, and just kind of flatten it out a little bit. And you're going to just put your clips on the corners. And again, down here, you just take these off and you're going to put your finger, stretch up, take that right and bring it down to the bottom point, and then just kind of keep your fingers on there. Take your clip, and you'll see where it comes down. You're going to just put your clip there, switch hands. You're going to flip over that left so that these corners line up, not corners, but edges line up, and just take your clip off and reclip it. And all these other clips you can take off. And that's what it's going to look like. You're going to go right to the middle and you're going to make a squeeze. Take your clip off. You're going to bring that top in and the bottom in. And you're bringing it in where that corner is. You'll see it when you're making them. Okay, you're going to take your zip tie. And you can use elastics if you want. For me, it was really hard to use the elastics. And then you're just going to pull your zip tie like that. Okay. One. And now we're going to cut the tails off because we don't need the tails. Okay. And there you have your feather petal. So we have that. Now we're going to make little mini feather petals. Okay. These were a little tricky to make, but they're a lot of fun. So we're basically going to take a piece of your silver foil. Okay, you're going to cut your square 10 by 10, like I said, or 10.5 by 10, whatever it is. You're going to take your top corner, bring it down to your bottom. We're basically doing it very similar to what we just did. Okay, I'm going to do that. And that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over just like we just did. Okay, so we're going to have that Star Trek type of form here. And then what we're going to do is take a ruler, whatever you have that you can make a straight cut. You're going to actually put your ruler on the top point here, right down the center of your triangle. Okay, this is going to actually give us little mini squares. Okay, so that we can make our little mini feather petals. So, and again, for this, you can use a your rotary tool. You do not need a wood burner for this. So you're going to cut right up the middle here so that when you take these off, you have these little squares. They're actually really cute. Okay, so you have little squares. So you'll get 4 squares out of each piece that you do. Okay, so now we're going to use these to make little mini feather petals. So the only thing you want to do with these is this is your factory edges right here. You're going to be lining them up the same way that you did with the bigger petals. Okay, so your factory edges in this upper left, you're going to take your top point, bring it to your bottom point. Okay, we're doing the same exact thing. We're just doing it on a miniature level here. The only thing I don't do with this one is because it's so tiny, I don't put a clip down the bottom. I just hold it with my thumb. So then you're going to stretch this up. You're going to bring your right side down again. Okay. Same exact thing. Then take this clip off, clip your corner, switch hands, take your left, line it up to your other side there so it's kind of coming down evenly, and change your clip. Okay. So basically it's just a mini feather petal here. So I'm going to take this clip off. Then you're going to clip. You're going to pinch your center. And this is kind of all, with the mini like this, it's all in like one fluid motion. Okay. And with this, you can use an elastic for. So I just kind of put my elastic on there. And when I do it, I tend to put the elastic over, like let it hit my thumb, because then I know that it's going to cover it and not pull it off. So then you have these cute little mini feather petals. So we're going to make, I'm just going to make a few more. I think I just need 3 more of these. So with these little mini feather petals, you're going to need 15 of these all together. So you basically need to do 4 big squares and cut those down. Okay. Again, your factory edge is up on the left here. Bring your point down. You're going to clip your right and your left points. You're going to stretch it up. Put your thumb on the point on the bottom, stretch it up. Fold your right side in. Put your clip. Bring your left side over. Put your clip. And you're going to kind of take that one off. And this is, like I said, fluid motion. You're going to pinch the middle and bring your right and left at the same time in. Okay. And you could cut this off first if you want, or after, whichever. And then, like I said, when I put this in, I just kind of bring the elastic so it's kind of going over my thumb a little bit too. So then I know like nothing sneaks out. Okay. And if you have little things that come out, you can just clip those off. And just have to do one more, and then I'll show you where we're going to use those. Okay. So factory edge to the left, top point to bottom point. Clip your right, clip your left, stretch it, right side down, clip, flip it, flip, and then bring in your side. And these don't have to be, they don't have to be perfect. It's just adding some color and stuff. All right, so there's your mini feather petals. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach one of these to each of your bigger feather petals. So you're just going to take it, put it right on top. And then what I do is I add an elastic to it, because I found if I try to just overlay this and then do the zip tie on my board, this thing starts to get wonky and it moves all around depending on how hard you pull your zip tie. So I found just by attaching it like this, it just all stays nicer when you go to put it onto the board. So you're just going to take each one of these and you're going to attach it to one of your burlap feather petals. And just like this. Okay. And you basically now have all your petals set up to put on your board. Okay, so like I said, the setup is probably worse than actually putting it all together. All right, I'm just going to move all this stuff aside so that we can get started with our board. And I have my like little handy dandy ear compressor thing. It's so cute. You get them at Dollar Tree and you can clean your desk off really quick. All right, so let's bring up our board. All right. Here is the board. So again, we are not using this first row right now. This is where the metal stake for the flamingo is going to go in. So you're actually starting on that second one up. Okay. And I kind of made little lines here so that you could see, like, from here down, these are all of our rolled petals. These are our fanned petals, and then these are our feather petals, okay? So what we're going to do is, and you can do this in any order you want. This is just how, when I designed it, I just wrote down how I did it. So in this first outer one, I'm going to take my hot pink roll, and I'm just going to put that in there like that, okay? And you just pull it tight, okay? Then I'm going to take one of my light pink rolls and put that right next to it and pull that tight. Then I'm going to take my silver rolled petal, put that right next to that. And when I do this, you can see where like it's the opening is here. I put those face down so you have the nice side facing up. Put a silver one there. And then we're going to do our hot pink foil right next to that silver one. And you're just placing them. You're not overlapping them. They're just going right next to each other. Okay. So that's going to start the bottom of your feathers down here. So you're going to clip your zip ties as you go. I know some people, I believe, use the pipe cleaners. You can use those too. I just find for me the zip ties are much, much easier. Okay, so that's our first row. So on our next row above that, we're going to be taking our hot pink foil, and that's going to be going right up here. And then we're going to be using our hot pink fabric mesh. That's going to be going into the next one. And then we're going to be doing a light pink. And again, the nubs just all go right next to each other, and these will kind of fall wherever they're going to fall. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the outer one again, and now we're going to add a light pink. And like I said, you could do whatever pattern you want. You could make it. You don't have to use these colors either. So whatever works for you is fine. We're going to do a silver, and these are all the rolled petals on the bottom here. And then we're going to do a hot pink foil. And you can mark your board beforehand too, like where you want what colors to be placed where to make it easier. I actually have a little cheat sheet that I'm looking at. So what I usually do is I take a picture of a blank board that I'm going to use. And then I map out where all of my things are going to be so that if I need to make another one, I know exactly where things are placed. So I don't know if you could see that, but you could take a screenshot of that if you wanted to. So that's that row. And then we're going to go light pink. So we're not going to be using the outer one. We're going to go to that next one. We're going to do our hot pink fabric. And do our light pink. And then we're going to do our silver. Okay. Pretty our feathers are starting to look here. Okay, so now we're going to be doing hot pink foil on this outer. I'm going to do another silver. And then we're going to do a hot pink fabric. Okay. All right, so we got one more row of the rolled feathers here. So now for this one, we have an outer, which is going to be our foil. Nope, we're going to do light pink. Just got to make sure I do it right here. So we got our outer. I always miscount. All right, hold on, folks. Hold on. Best laid plans prepping. I need one more rolled petal here. So I need to just do a quick light pink one. It might have fallen, but let me just do this really quick. Real quick. There we go. No harm, no foul. All right. So we're going to have a light pink on this outer. And we're going to have a hot pink next to it. And then the hot pink foil. So see, like if you prep your board, it goes so much quicker. All right, so now we're going to start getting into the fanned petals. Okay, so that was all of our rolled petals. Okay, so this is what your bottom's going to look like. Now we're going into those fanned. So the first one here is going to be a hot pink. Okay, so like I said, I keep the clips on so that it doesn't catch on anything. So we're going to put our hot pink one in here. And then we skip one, and then we have the other zip tie here, which is going to be our foil one. And then see how, like, if you just leave these on, they're not catching on anything. It's just a little bit easier. All right, so now for this next row, okay, so you have your two fan petals. We're going to be doing kind of a mix with this one. So we're going to start with our one of our feather petals, okay, in this outer. Okay, so we're going to start with a feather petal. And now we're going to go to a fanned foil petal. Now we're going to do a feather petal, which we're going to do the light pink. So we had the rose petal, the rose colored, which is the darker poly burlap. Then we did the hot pink foil, and now we're going to do a light pink of the poly burlap feather petal. Okay, so that's going to go right in there like that. And then we're going to do a light pink of our fanned. Okay. And you know what I did? I forgot to cut these guys. So if you forget to cut them, just go back in and cut them after. It's just easier if you cut them as you go, because then you don't have to lift up the other petals, which I just forgot to do. Okay, so light pink, fanned petal. Okay, so for this row, you're going to, like I said, you're going to have your poly burlap feather, fanned, feather, fanned. Okay, and you could either leave these on or take them off now. I just leave them on there till I'm ready to put the flamingo on. All right, so now the rest of these are pretty much now all the feathered petals. Okay, so we're just going to kind of have some fun with it here. So this is going to be, do a dark, and you could do this. There's no exact pattern to this. You could do it however you want to do it. So it looks like I did a dark, I did a light. And what I do too is when you're adding these on, put it over the existing zip tie that you have on your nub, because it just helps these stay in. So if you go to pull it, it's going to block it because you have that other zip tie on there. Because these are so thick, sometimes they tend to want to pop out of the zip tie. So this kind of holds them in place really good. So for this row, I'm going to be doing a dark, a light, and a dark. Just like that. Okay, so we're starting to get our look here. So this is what I was telling you. If these weren't attached to this, when you start pulling, they just kind of start going in different directions, and then in the end, it looks a little wonky to me. But all right, so now we're up to this part here, which, sorry, I always do it sideways, but this is kind of where we're at right now. Okay, so this is your top. These are your hanger holes up here, and it's just easier when you're putting them in to turn it to the side. So you're going to be doing that the first set of holes that we drilled, okay, that we added, we're going to put that in there first. All right, so looks like I did a light pink in this one. So the added holes, you're going to put that one in first. And like I say, it gets a little tougher because these are so thick up there. And then we're going to be putting this outer one, which is a darker pink. You got to kind of like, because they are so thick and you put the zip ties in, don't pull your zip ties really too tight when you're loading your board, just till it makes that little click, because these are so thick that it's hard to kind of feed that into there, as you can see here. Okay, so that one's going to kind of, it goes out this way to the side. Okay, so it's not going to be coming down because we're starting to make our curve. Okay, so now we're going to go above that there. And looks like I put a light pink here. It doesn't matter. You could start in the inner or outer. I think I started outer, so let's do that so I keep it consistent. I'm just going to kind of squeeze that in there. So I'm going to do a light pink there. And then we're going to do a dark pink here. So you can see how hard it is to get those in there. But once you get it in there, you have that other zip tie that helps to kind of hold it in place. Okay, we're almost done. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of keep turning it back and forth so you guys can see where we're at. So this is what it's going to look like. So we have 1, 2, 3 rows left to do at this point. Okay, I'm going to turn it sideways. And now we're going to be doing, let's see, do a dark pink in this outer one here. And like I said, make your own pattern. Sorry about that. Puppy's calling. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to do dark pink. And then we're going to do a light pink. Stick that. And if you find it easier to do the zip ties as you go so that they're opened up here, you could do that too. I just load them all because then I don't forget which holes I'm doing. All right, and then we're going to do a light pink on the next row in this outer. I need peacock feathers right now. We're going to do darker pink here. Just like that. And then I'm going to do one more dark pink because the body of the flamingo is a darker pink. So this way it kind of blends with it. So in that very last one, you're going to put your dark pink. All right. Just like that. All right. So all of our petals are in. So once we get the flamingo on here, then we can kind of readjust the petals if we need to. And apparently I have extra as usual because I cannot count, but I'll make sure when I do the supply list and how many petals, I'll make sure that's accurate for you guys. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our flamingo All right. This part was a little tricky for me. So don't get frustrated with it. Just kind of take your time. So on the back here, so when you put this on here, we need to be able to attach this top part as well as the bottom part. Okay. So on the back, there's going to be these little like not holes, but areas of holes that you're going to be able to put a zip tie down, or you could do a pipe cleaner, whatever is easier for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom part and we're going to slide it into the holes that we have down here. Okay, so we already have our zip ties in that very first set of holes. So that's basically going to go on the bottom. Let me see if I can just bring this up so you guys can see this. So you're going to slide this in through your zip ties down here. And you're going to want it to set on the board. And that, because that'll just give it a little bit more stability, okay? So once you slide it through your zip ties, set it on your board, and then you're going to pull your zip ties, okay? So you have 3 on there. So just pull those nice and tight. And then what I do is I clip them. And then what I do is I just take where the top of the zip tie is, and I just turn them so that they're on the inside of the board. So I just kind of take them and just flip them up because I don't like them sticking out, so that you'll see just a nice smooth on the edge here. And then what I do at the very end is so this doesn't slide up and down just in case these loosen, I'll put a little bit of hot glue right on down the edge here just to kind of hold it in place. Okay. So that's your bottom part. Okay. So this is kind of what we're looking like right now. So we want to attach this part now. So this is, like I said, this is where it just got tricky for me. So what I did was, if you kind of flip this over, this is where those extra holes that we did, okay? This is where we're going to actually be attaching the top part of the flamingo, okay? Because you don't want it, if you pull it down here, it pulls it up. I found this was like the best spot. So in here, in this top part, kind of where the curve of the neck is, okay, I put a zip tie right over this. There's like a little bar here, okay? And I'm going to do that so you can hopefully see it, okay? So where that body is, there's a little bar. You're going to put your zip tie there, all right? Now what you're going to do is you're going to actually be sticking your zip tie down through this dark pink, all right, burlap. So you're going to kind of stick it through here, and then you got to find the hole underneath. So what I do is I stick it through the burlap and then kind of lift this up so I can peek at where the hole is underneath here. Because I try to do it blindly, and it did not go very well for me. Like I said, this was like the trickiest part. Okay, so I can see my zip tie coming out here. So what I want to do is direct it to the hole. So I use my little, I don't even know what you call these, like a plier thing. And I take the tip of the zip tie and guide it to where the hole is, because it's kind of hard to get your fingers in there. Okay, and then once I get the tip to the hole, you will see it underneath here. Like I said, pipe cleaners might be easier. I'm not sure. I just like to use zip ties. So then there it is right there. Okay, so that came through. So now we're going to just go up this hole again, and we're going to actually come back up through the burlap again. Okay, so that's the easy part. Okay, so here is, just stick this back up through here, sorry. If that comes out, it's fine because it's thick enough where you can pop it back up through that hole. And I just took that down. All right, round 2. What I'm going to do so this doesn't pull out, I'm going to put a little clip up here so that won't pull through. We're just repeating that same step, guys, because that came out on me. Okay. I'm just going to guide the zip tie to the hole there. And I don't have my glasses on, so that does not help. All right, almost there. Almost there. All right, I think we're going to need glasses. Hold on. I don't know where my glasses are. All right. I'm going to do it this way first. I may have to do this with a pipe cleaner because it may be easier. All right, so I got it through. I'm going to direct this to the hole. And so this is the hardest part, guys, right here. And I'm just going to feed that back up through so it goes over that bar that's underneath there. Because we want that. We want, oh my Lord. I'm just going to kind of hold that. I'm just going to, again, I'm going to put this little clip on here because it kind of holds it. All right. This does not want to cooperate. Let's try this again. All right, so just kind of going down that hole, up that hole. And then I need to grab this top part. These. Like I said, I think it probably would be easier with the pipe cleaners because they're more flexible than these zip ties are. But once you kind of get the zip tie through, it stays nice. It's just getting it, manipulating it, and getting it through is the hard part. Okay, so like I definitely found I can't use just my fingers because there's no way I could attach the zip tie together. So I'm just taking this and just guiding the tip into the other end of the zip tie if it wants to work. All right, we're gonna change this around here. Let's try something different because that just does not want to work for me today. All right, let me try it with a pipe cleaner. Let's try this instead. So I'm going to take the pipe cleaner and I'm going to go around that bar that I told you about. That's in there. Okay, there's a little space where you can feed that through. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to slide this down in here. We're going to go through the burlap. Get my head out of the way. It's just a little bit harder with the pipe cleaners because they bend too much as you're trying to get down through the burlap, but you can do it. Okay, we're going to go down into the hole. And then we're going to do the same with the other one. Okay, we're going to just go down through the top again. We're not going to be worrying about coming back up through the bottom. I'm going to go through the burlap. And because we doubled up with this, it's a little bit harder to kind of stick it through. So you just got to kind of wiggle it a little bit and it'll go through for you. All right, that was much easier. Probably should have done that in the first place. All right, so we're gonna go through the bottom hole again. Oh yeah, much easier. What was I thinking with that zip tie? All right. So then what we're gonna do is just kind of flip it around the back. Now we're going to pull these a little bit tight. You don't have to do too tight. We just want it to hold it in place. If you start to pull too tight, it's actually going to shift your flamingo around. All right, we're going to just do that. And then we can clip these off. And kind of stick it right back down, the point right back down into the hole. Now, you can add another one if you want. Okay. Or you can leave, because this kind of flops around. So see how it kind of flops? So we want to kind of get this down too. And I'm just going to use another pipe cleaner for that again. And I think what I'm going to do is go, again, there's a little bar down here. Okay, you see it? Put your pipe cleaner through that bar. So it's really at the tip of the tail here. Okay. The tip of the tail. And then you're just going to kind of go down through any of your holes down here. You can go down through just to kind of hold it in place for you. Oh yeah, pipe cleaner was much easier. I should have done that in the first place. Okay, and just like that. Okay, so see how it doesn't flop anymore? It kind of holds that in place. And again, just kind of tighten your zip tie there. All right. And then we're going to add our hanger to the top. Okay, so see, that's how it's looking now. So see how it's not moving around? That's how we want it to be. So your hanger is just going to go through the top here. So you have your two hanger holes. So it's going to go through the front to the back, from the back to the front. Okay. What are you doing? Sorry about that. I'm going to turn it around there. There we go. All right. And there's our hanger. And then just kind of clip that off. And then what I do, then you could take these clips off, okay? And then we can kind of play around with our feathers here a little bit. And just fan those out. And then what you can do is if you happen to see like any of the board, then you just adjust your petals a little bit. Okay. And there is your flamingo. Like I said, I know the top part is a little bit tricky, but definitely using the pipe cleaners for that part was much easier. I've been using the zip ties and I can just tell you that was much easier. And like I said, you pull it just tight enough so that it holds it together, but you don't want to, because otherwise you're going to start like bending the board underneath. So you don't want to do that. So that is basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you understood it. If not, definitely do your playback little by little and just do it slowly. The prep is the biggest thing. And what I'm going to do is I'll type up a supply list as well as try to get the graphic for you of where the placement of all the petals is to make it a little bit easier to set it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll be able to come on and do some more lives for you. All right. Have a great day, you guys.